president of the Iowa Firearms Coalition, Jeff Burkett, in the studio today as we talk gun control and the Second Amendment. Then later, it's Karen and it's Jonathan Narcissus, live today on The View.
Let's get it started. Ha! Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Ha! Let's get it started in here. Yeah.
Let's get it started in here.
Welcome to The View from a Pew, a conversation among Christians who are out to grow their faith by asking the simple questions, the tough questions, and the stuff you really wish your pastor would talk about. Come on now, let's reason together. It's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. That's 855-244-0077. Now, here's your host, J. Michael McCoy.
4 minutes after the hour, welcome to The View from a Pew on this Wednesday. Tom Coates is not in the house. He's away somewhere. He's in his house counting his money. I don't know where he is, but he's not with us today. Army Brad is, along with Father. No, we don't. We don't have any. We don't. Father, we don't know. We don't know where he is. We don't know what he does. He just wanders in and out and takes money. All right, my special guest today for the first portion of the show is Jeff Burkett, and that's spelled B-U-R-K-E-T-T. There's Father Tattoo. Hi. Your mic's not on. Of course, you should be used to that. Jeff Burkett, who is the president of the Iowa Firearms Coalition, and I wanted Jeff to come in a little bit today and talk about this insanity that's going on in Washington. You gun guys, have got to be busier than the Cardinals around Christmas.
It's crazy right now.
I would think so. Obviously there's an Iowa Firearms Coalition, so I would imagine there's a Nebraska, there's a South Dakota, and then is there a national, or is that the NRA?
Well, we're actually an independent organization, so there are some other firearms coalitions out there that we are not associated with.
Okay. Are you associated with the NRA?
We are an NRA affiliate officially, yes.
Okay. What does that mean, affiliate?
That means that our organization has reached out to NRA and paid dues to become an affiliate member because we are very like-minded in our views, both on Second Amendment as well as legislative tactics as well.
But you're an independent organization. All right.
That's
and
correct.
Started here in Iowa.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I should have read your card. It says right here, NRA Affiliate Club. Excuse me. All right. So I am not a gun guy, but I'm not an anti-gun guy either. I don't. Brad took me out shooting once, and it was a lot of fun. But so I'm really, when it comes to this conversation, I'm really about the Constitution.
Sure.
I don't own a gun. I don't have a gun. They don't scare me. But
Brad owns your fair share of guns, though.
What?
Brad owns your share of guns.
Well, between the two of you, you probably own a whole warehouse full.
I'm sure we could arm a small militia.
Yeah.
It would be really small, but
Yeah.
we could get people armed up.
I mean, it
ready.
depends on what we define a militia as, I suppose.
And Father Tattoo is a big gun guy.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever killed anybody?
Not with any of my guns.
Not yet.
No.
Brad,
no.
have you? Well, you were in the Army, so.
Ted Kennedy's car is still way more dangerous.
Not that I'm aware of, so.
Not that you're aware of. All right. What's going on? I mean, just share with me.
Well, there's a lot going on. The big problem we have right now is a president who has a worldview that's contradictory to our Constitution, clearly. And to capitalize off an emotional event like we had with Sandy Hook, and then to stand in front of the nation quoting Bible verses about children, an attempt to capitalize off that momentum, really probably underscores how important it is for him to implement gun control here in the United States.
What does gun control look like? I mean, the Constitution's pretty clear.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So what does gun control look like?
Well, let's back up a little bit and talk about what you first said. The Constitution is very clear. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Infringe is the key word there.
Okay.
We're talking about this is the only enumerated right in the Constitution that shall not be infringed of all the rights. When you think about just the English definition of the word fringe is the very outer edge of whatever it is you're talking about. Sometimes in politics, we joke from the left and the right about the fringe.
Right.
And in both cases, we're talking about the same thing. We're talking about people who are on the very outside. So for us as a country to say that we are not already at a place where we have infringed our rights is a ridiculous notion to begin with.
Okay.
For the president to stand up there on this emotional tidal wave that we have right now in our culture and say that we need to be more open-minded, I would argue the exact opposite. What we need to be open-minded about are the things that they didn't want to come and talk at the table about when they held those little mock conferences they did before the big announcement about the
Joe Biden's special
Exactly.
meeting with the Lord and everyone around.
Exactly.
Because truthfully, from my opinion, the root of the problem is not even being addressed. They're talking about one of the symptoms, which is gun violence. The limiting guns is not going to cause people that are sick from doing terrible things. It just changes how they will, because people that want to kill people are going to find a way.
They're going to find a way. Yeah.
Whether it's fertilizer in a truck outside a federal building or a plane with a box opener, they're going to find a way to kill people.
Yeah, this is proven time and time again. You take a look at our friends over in Australia that implemented gun control back in the 90s. They will say that gun violence, as I like to call it, they like to turn gun into an adjective when it's convenient on all these things, has gone down. Well, yes, it's gone down because you zip-sawed through 90% of your firearms that came in and threw them in a big pile. So, I mean, just pure mathematics is going to make it harder for people to get a hold of. Violence has gone up there. And when you look at violence that is non-gun related, those methods, such as clubs and knives, have escalated since that time. So at the end of the day, you're exactly right. This is not a gun issue. This is a violence issue and a problem in our world, in our culture here as well.
Jeff Burkett is my guest. He's the president of the Iowa Firearms Coalition. Do you think that I should have the right to own an automatic weapon with 100 bullets in a clip?
Absolutely.
Okay. Should I be able to own a what do they call those big machine guns that sits on like a turret?
A big 50 cal.
Yeah,
Cal M2.
they're in the back of like the Humvees in Iraq.
So you want a Jeep with like a 50 cal that you could drive?
Do you think I should be able to own that?
I don't have a problem with that, no.
Okay, what about if I could afford my own drone?
I wouldn't consider that a Second Amendment issue specifically, but
How about a good old fashioned cannonball cannon?
I'm pretty good for freedom. You know what's interesting about cannons is back in the time of the Revolutionary War, it was not uncommon for homeowners, to have a cannon on their property that was theirs.
Yeah, but can I own a cannon?
Not
a working
today.
cannon?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the answer to that.
But
I think you can. I think you can own certain kind of cannons. Where they would. That's an antiquated arm, and it would be covered underneath that.
A who?
Antiquated arm. It's an armament
It's
that's
like
built.
old, Mac. That means
yeah,
old.
like 1892, I think, is the cutoff date for those.
Okay, what about the big machine gun that sits in the back of the Humvee? Can I own one of those?
Fully automatic weapons right now, you cannot just go out and purchase.
And when did
you
that?
you haven't been able to for decades.
Decades.
Yes.
Okay. So do you know when that was implemented? Decades ago.
In the 30s, when the
All right.
NFA bill went through originally.
Was that the last time that our rights as a gun owner were infringed upon?
No, our rights have constantly been infringed. I mean, you look at let's take a look at what everybody's concern is. These mass murders that are happening. These are all happening within the last 50 years. Every single one of these types of attempts have happened in a gun-free zone, with the exception of the Gabrielle Giffords attempt down in Arizona in the last decade.
So one of the things that you feel the government has done to infringe upon our rights to own guns is to create gun-free zones.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Or allow them to be created, because the Aurora shooting, actually, the government had no say in that. That was a private movie theater that enacted that. And what's interesting about that, though, is really all they can have happen is they can remove you from the property if you violate that. It's not a criminal offense to bring a gun in there. It's a trespassing if you continue to stay there after it's been discovered.
It depends on the state.
Yeah, and that's Iowa's law. Now I don't know what Colorado might be.
Colorado, I believe. I'm not sure. I believe they're more similar to Iowa. In Nebraska, for instance, those signs do hold force of law. So if I were to come in your studio, you had a no gun sign, I'd be violating state law.
All right. Now, it seems only common sense to me that if someone in the Aurora Theater had a gun besides the killer, we would have saved lives.
This is a statistical fact.
Absolutely, yeah.
When you look at these types of mass murder attempts, and you have an armed person there, whether that is a private citizen, whether it is a police officer, or whatever the mechanism is, the average death toll is 2.5 deaths. 2.5 deaths.
Why isn't...
And one of those is probably a shooter in most cases.
Yeah. Why isn't that language, why isn't that verbiage, why isn't that patter involved in this conversation about gun control with common sense?
Because the people that want to take away people's weapons don't want people to know that. Most people are today have very little knowledge on what firearms are capable of, that they don't realize that it's a tool, just like a car is a tool to get you from place to place. It's something can be used to protect you, or it can be something that you can use either in an offensive way or a defensive way.
We have almost 1.5 million self-defense scenarios with firearms owners in this country per year. And how many of them do you hear reported in the media?
None. But yeah.
You hear the gal in Oklahoma last year, because she was a mother who saved her children, and I applaud her that she was trained and capable to do that. And a gal in Georgia here recently, who, interestingly enough, if you go by the current ban in New York City, was in the legal round count that you could have if that law would have been in effect where she's at in Georgia. Thank God they don't have that down there. But she had a revolver, 6 shots, shot the guy point blank range 5 times in the head and neck. One shot missed, and the guy still got up, ran out of the house, drove a vehicle a significant way down the road before he was stopped. And here they are telling us this is the number of rounds we need. These people who don't use firearms, these people who don't understand firearms, they just want to make arbitrary lines in the sand. Here's a perfect example. The assault weapons ban, which is a joke to begin with because the term assault rifle has been completely misused by the media. The majority of that ban are cosmetic features that have no impact on the significance of the gun.
I heard that on Hannity one day. He was arguing with a senator out of New York after they passed this bill that these 2 guns were exactly the same except for cosmetics, and one was banned and one was not.
Exactly.
Okay.
You don't want to have a weapon with black plastic on it because that means it's extra dangerous.
Yeah,
if it has black plastic.
And it's really interesting because they argue for this smaller clip. But anybody that shot a gun or is trained to do so tactically knows they can change out a clip in less than a second. In fact, there's one guy, I can't remember the guy's last name. His name's Terry. He's a speed shooter. He can change out a revolver in under a second.
Yeah.
So me having a 25-round clip or a 10-round clip, we're talking a fraction of a second.
Jeff Burkett has been my guest today. He's the president of the Iowa Firearms Coalition. Before you go, and you're going to have about 60 seconds, talk to me like I'm a 6-year-old. Try to explain to me, like you would a little boy, why those people want to take my guns.
I wish I had an answer for that.
I mean, what are they afraid of?
I don't know. I mean, it's truly when you evaluate every side of their argument as why they're opposed to guns, it's completely nonsensical. They don't understand the issues. They don't understand the facts, and they don't want to sit down and have an actual discussion. They want to have a little pretend meeting and then push things out via executive order because they honestly, here's why. This is something a 5-year-old can understand. They live in fear.
They live in fear.
But
they're going to arm the criminals and take the guns away from the law-abiding citizens.
And that is statistically proven. Criminals always find firearms.
Jeff, you're always welcome here. Jeff Burkett from the Iowa Firearms Coalition, president of such. If you want to know more information, iowafc.org. Is that right? iowafc.org. All right, Jeff, thanks for coming in. Karen and Jonathan Narcissus, next, live here on The View from a Pew on KTIA, Iowa.
Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed rider, it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
We've got questions. You've got the answer. Join the conversation. It's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
21 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday. Tom Coates not in the house. Army Brad filling in. And, of course, Father Tattoo is... this is kind of funny. Have you ever wondered how a blind man could lead another blind man? I mean, that wouldn't make sense, right? I mean, a dog shouldn't lead a dog with no legs or anything. But Father Tattoo's training a new producer.
I think that's awesome.
You do, yeah?
Yep.
Think we'll lose Father Tattoo?
No.
No?
We'll always be able to see it.
But what if the new guy's better?
Well,
Oh, that's true. Ryan's better.
that's a big if.
All right, this is going to be a fun show. There's a guy that wanders the face of this earth, and some of you know him, and if you haven't ever met him, you ought to get to know him because he's a blessing. His name is Jonathan Narcissus, and sometimes when that name is said, venomous fangs come out, especially if you used to be a part of the school board, or if you are a liar, cheat, or a thief, because Jonathan isn't any of those, and he doesn't like any of those people, and he'll call them out. But we're blessed on this earth to have a guy by the name of Jonathan Narcissus. He's one of my favorite brothers. In fact, I hope he joins this platform. Here's my public begging. I hope you join this platform and start doing your own show again like you used to. What was that show called? Front Porch?
Jonathan's Front Porch.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah, we ran into Hal Chase today and his wife.
Who?
Hal Chase, Dr. Hal Chase. He talked about
yeah.
how he was going to pick up his date and he saw his wife sitting in the car up front, went and talked to her and never picked up his date, and they've been together ever since.
Yeah, I remember.
49 years.
All right. And Jonathan has been a longtime Des Moines resident. Your business is called The Bystander.
That's one of our newspapers.
Okay, he has a newspaper that he publishes. And
I'm actually the editor of the Bystander. Gerald Brandley's the publisher.
Okay. See, now you're just getting fancy with titles.
Well,
You're the chief bottle washer.
If we were rich, we wouldn't have to worry about titles.
Okay.
You know how that works.
Jonathan was a member of the Des Moines School Board until they, I don't know, cheated and kicked you off?
No, I my term ended. They just changed the law so they could end my term early.
A year?
Yes, a year.
Well, that's cheating.
And that was really cool. You know how cool it is to have the entire legislature, after being lobbied, change the law just for you? Which they bragged about it, and that's why the Register did that cool front page paper, that front page story on them changing the law.
Anyway, he's been many things, and he's done many things, and I'm sure he's going to do and be many, many more. He's one of my poker buddies, and I love to have him on the radio. But today he brings someone that I've never met before, and I didn't even know about until 2 weeks ago, and that's his wife. Yeah, he got married.
And the world knows
Crazy.
about it.
Yeah.
And the whole world knows about it because their wedding balloon ride ended up in a crash in California and was all over the news. Yes, you saw that. Remember that? Remember the husband and wife that were in the balloon and they had the little camera up there? You didn't see that? Okay, let's roll tape. And for those of you who are just on the radio, you can listen to it if you're watching on webcast1live.com. This is a TV report on that fateful balloon ride. When was it?
January 7th.
January 7th, 2013. All right, we'll get that figured out, and they'll run it, and you'll be able to see it right there. By the way, welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
We're going to find out all about Karen and find out how she comes to become Mrs. Jonathan Narcissus. Are we okay in there on that, or should we wait? Go?
Go.
In the Atlantic Ocean and never had to go any further.
Okay, battery's going.
I think that road goes right below it.
Is this over San Diego?
Smart. Ending positions, everybody. Brace.
There's Jonathan all duded up. Karen sitting on his lap. Jonathan's daughter. Is that your daughter in front of you?
Yeah.
And that's where it wrecked.
No, that was the gentle part of the landing.
That was the what?
Gentle part of the landing.
The gentle part of the
Yeah,
landing.
it got much worse. Like when the balloon, almost like a dog sled, pulled us into the steel fence and the.
See the basket we were standing? We
Yeah.
were sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got drug across that.
And that cliff is
wow.
much deeper than you get a sense of from the from the balloon.
You're
Now-
lucky you didn't go in the pool, too. So
Oh yeah, we
I've
were
had
close.
more than one person say to me, "Do you think Jonathan set that up? You think that was
Are you serious?
No, I'm
Yeah.
serious. I've had
Oh,
more than
well,
one.
yeah,
Is that a PR stunt that Jonathan did?"
Oh,
And I
my
said,
goodness.
"I don't think
All
so."
right. Yeah, no, that's just silliness.
Okay, so let's.
Yes, I took my daughters and my wife on a balloon and then crashed it into a residential area, missing the power grid by 6 feet, so I could get some free press.
Okay. See, we've got it on tape now.
yeah, now we have it on tape,
Yeah.
so you can like clip that out and
All right.
Oh, my
take it
God.
completely out of context.
We don't want to hear any more from you for a while, Jonathan. We want to hear something from your lovely bride. Karen, you are from here.
Well, I was born in Shenandoah.
Hold on. We need microphone. Go ahead.
I was born in Shenandoah, Iowa.
Okay, KOMA.
Right, and my dad started the first Earl May Garden Center
Really?
downtown Des Moines, Iowa, and so we moved over here, and I went to elementary and junior high. Madison Elementary,
Okay.
Warren Harding Junior High,
Sure.
and then my mom and dad moved up north to Humboldt, Iowa,
Okay.
where they ran a Lang's Flower and Greenhouse.
All right. And so you were born and raised here. We've got Dan. Can you hear that? There's something wrong with the audio. So you were born and raised here, and then when did you leave here?
So I left here in 1980.
Okay.
Went to Seward, Nebraska. Went to Concordia.
Concordia College. Know it
Yep.
well. Go Big Red.
Became a commissioned minister of religion and director of Christian education, and served in the Lutheran Church. And then went to San Diego, and went to San Francisco Theological Seminary. Became a ordained Presbyterian minister.
So you went from Lutheran to Presbyterian.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I'll
There's
ask
an
you.
internal fight still going on over that.
Is there?
Yeah.
It's the Calvinist and the Martin Luther in you.
Yeah, yeah. And now I married a Baptist.
Well, you can change that.
Right.
What are you passionate about in your ministry? Because you're now in hospice care,
Right.
And you would like to remain there.
Yeah, I love working with folks that are in their final months and days,
Okay.
and bringing that hope and peace and joy, and sitting and listening to the story, and just watching a really peaceful passing into the next world.
Do you hear? Do you have people that get saved in those last hours?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Really?
I think there's more of a confirmation for a lot of people, because most people have had some sort of introduction into a spiritual. I think that's within us, and whether they've gone to church or not, there's a philosophy of life or spiritual belief of what's going to happen next. But it's amazing how God just puts peace there. It's just a gift that we get.
In the end.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the people that have that peace and the people that go out kicking and screaming?
You know what? I've only, in my almost 10 years of being in hospice work, have only had one person that really struggled at the end with that.
Now,
I should ask you about that story.
okay, I don't mean to be offensive when I say this, but is that because of the drugs?
No.
I know those people so drugged up.
No, she just struggled with her own belief system and couldn't find a place of real peace with it, and at one point was screaming, "I'm on fire! I'm on fire!" And it was really, really hard to be with her.
She
and
wouldn't
then
accept
died.
the
No.
Lord.
She accepted that there was a fire.
So
She was
she-
experiencing that. Yes.
From hearing this, so she fought against it for so long that she held that.
You know, she had some, and I visited with her a few times. She had an unresolved issue that she just didn't want to deal with at the end, that caused her not to believe that she was worthy or that there was anything. And she feared the fire. So she had a belief in the fire and, in hell, or she never called it that, but I witnessed her, screaming, "I'm hot, I'm hot."
As she passed away.
Yeah. And only one in 10 years, and I've
Yeah.
been with a lot of people. But, it sticks in my head.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean, you certainly would have stories of people acting the other way
Oh, absolutely.
as they pass through.
Yep.
And I want to get to some of those. I do, but I want to finish the story here before we take a break. So you're in San Diego, which I hear is like the best place in the world to live.
It's paradise.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're happy and contented with your relationship with Jesus and having a job you love. And then this big lug enters your life. How did that happen? I'm talking about you.
Oh, do I get to talk now?
Yeah, you get to talk now for
you couldn't talk.
just for a minute. How did you two get? Is it Match.com?
Well, since about 2005, I had pursued her, but she wanted none of it. And then earlier in 2012, New Year's Day, I called her and she hung up on me. And then on November 18th, I posted big news on my Facebook page. And she never gets my notices, but she got that one. And she the next day asked me what the big news was, and through a text, and I said, "Let me call you," and she did. And I said, "I've been in love with you for a long time. You should come back to Iowa and marry me. Now, if you hang up on me, I can die in peace." And she didn't hang up on me. She said, "Can I call you back?"
Really? Can I call you back?
Yeah. And the amazing thing is, prior to that, my heart was so broken. I mean, if you took and had crusted on Elmer's glue and Scotch tape,
Oh, here
and
goes the
duct tape-
violin.
No, I'm serious. It was just. But the minute I told her that, it's like my heart healed.
But how did you
God's
know
been-
her?
But God, well, we had met. When she was pastoring in Cedar Rapids. She and most of her professional career, she's been out in California, but she came back here and pastored in Cedar Rapids. She came to hear me speak, and then we ran into each other at the Holiday Inn when I had scheduled a press conference for when Akeo was running for school board.
Okay.
And she was doing some consulting, and she was leaving. We ran into each other, talked for hours, but then we went our separate ways. And then we just reconnected, a few years later. And so our first date was actually November 28th, 2012.
Which was
41 days later, I was in a balloon saying I do.
Wow.
I think. I said I don't remember if we said I do, but on CBS she said we said I do.
At the reception, I will show you the video where you said I do.
Well, I wanted to, so that's why I was up in the balloon.
He should have said I do at the ceremony, not the reception.
It was in the balloon.
In the balloon.
We're going to show
the
the
ceremony
videos.
was in the balloon.
Okay.
She has video proof that he said it, which is.
But God's been in this the whole time. I mean, even when she came here, she would say stuff like, "Well, I need a brick house with a built-in garage," and we turned the corner and there was a brick.
I said, I'm going to have to give up everything. I'm giving up the sunshine. I'm giving up the ocean. I'm giving up the palm trees, all the beautiful weather. I said, Jonathan, I have to have a brick house with a built-in garage.
Well, she didn't say that one. She just started throwing stuff out there, and every time she did, it happened.
And he goes, okay, well, let's go drive around. Well, I go, okay, you go drive around the neighborhood.
There was.
And here was this big brick house and this attached garage, because I thought I'd never find an attached garage over here.
She kept playing the Rumpelstiltskin game, I'd never figure it out, and she thought she never had to marry me, and then going up in the balloon.
So you've been married
I'd never
how long?
Say yes.
How many days is this?
Well, we kind of live in dog years.
16.
16 days?
It's been like,
It's been 16 days.
We'll continue to
been
meet
like 102 days.
Jonathan
dog years.
and Karen Narcissist. I never thought I'd see the guy married.
I didn't either. That's why I said if I
you.
ever got remarried, it'd make news worldwide.
And I said if I ever got remarried, it'd be in a hot air balloon.
We'll talk about it more when we come back live on The View.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Fight the good fight on a Rebels Cause Radio, Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on a rebelscause.com. A Rebels Cause Radio is edutainment.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
The only way we come to know the Saviorship of Jesus Christ is by bowing and acknowledging that He is Lord and King over all the earth.
Jesus Christ died on a cross, paid the penalty for our sin, and by repenting of our sin and accepting Him by faith, what He did for us, we are forgiven.
Salvation is not a combination of faith and works. Salvation is by faith alone in God.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
belongs in the pew, not pulpit. Come on now, let's reason together. The phone lines are open, so call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
3:38, 22 before the top. Salem Radio Network. Salem Radio Network News at the top, and then 4:03. It's Pastor Michael Mudloff with today's show called, what's it called? True Blue. Sorry. Brain just every once in a while, just the hard drive stops and I freeze. I'm like the little digital pictures when they tile. I think I'm getting old. All right. My special guest today is Karen and Jonathan Narcissus. And you need no introduction to Jonathan. You know him well. Are you here to announce any political runnings or anything like that?
Aspirations?
Can we
No.
Can we make public that you're going to run for governor again, or run against Harkin for the state senate? Or
oh, that would be awesome. That would.
My goal is to run a 5K this fall.
Okay.
I'm trying to talk Mac into do that too.
Yeah,
So let's get together after the show and
sure. Yeah.
I have like a 60-second commentary on the whole gun thing, but I'll leave that.
I'm welcome to hear it.
Well, can I just share what I shared with your guests?
Sure.
Okay, because this is what I said.
Jeff Burkett was my guest. He's the president of the Iowa Firearms Coalition.
This is what I said to him. I said, part of the problem the pro-gun lobby always has is they wait until after something like this happens. Like when I was on the school board, there was a school shooting in Cleveland. But then these were urban kids going to a technical high school, so nobody on the left or right really cared about the fact that they had been shot to death. So when I had brought up the point about increasing school security, the response from the Sebring administration and some of my fellow board members literally was, every time we're tired of talking about school security every time a kid gets shot in America. Here's what the pro-gun community has to begin doing. It has to begin talking about issues of safety and security prior to these shootings, not just reacting. Had every one of those kids been replaced with a gold bar or a platinum bar, we wouldn't be having this conversation because there would have been real security. But we protect our money and our gold better than our kids.
I agree.
At the same time, and I love Bruce Stone, but Bruce lost his mind over this. But Bruce didn't lose his mind when little black kids got shot in Cleveland. So we have to have a different conversation. The second thing is, and this is where I hope President Obama is a better, more visionary, more courageous president in his second term than his first. I'm just saying, I hope. You ought to hope he is too. You ought to hope he is too.
I pray for him.
Because we got him for 4 years. But if he was really demonstrating courage and vision, he wouldn't have a conversation about reacting to guns. He would have a conversation about violence. When women are raped, there's usually not a gun involved. When there's domestic violence against children, usually guns aren't involved. When Thea Duffett got stabbed 69 times, or actually she was beat to death with a baseball bat, there was no gun involved. The time has come to have a conversation in America about violence. And if you address violence, you will cover gun violence. But when you just react to guns and have no meaningful conversation about violence, the only thing you do is make sure that 2/3 of the pie is armed. The government, which is why the Second Amendment exists, criminals, and then the citizenry is disarmed. And then strength, physical strength, continues to perpetrate violence against children and women and others. So, I would love to see that kind of courage demonstrated. But since we haven't for 4 years, I'm not holding my breath.
Jonathan Narcissus.
I'm back to love now. Because I was scared of heights. I told them. They said, you were scared of heights? I said, no, I was terrified. Scared is cold in San Diego. Terrified is cold in Frostbite Falls, Minnesota. I'm terrified of heights.
And you were married in a hot air balloon.
Yes. Overlooking the ocean, mist the clouds.
I had my white dress on. He had his white tux on.
Married in the balloon.
In the balloon.
Okay.
In the not in the balloon, in the basket.
In the basket. Okay.
Minister brought the roses. He was there too.
Did you have
No.
No,
we had the giant. See, this is what people have to understand about a hot air balloon ride. You take a cell, you wrap it around this gigantic flame, powered by high explosives, and then you all climb in a wicker basket. And we did that. I did that because I love this woman.
Is that the only way you were going to get hitched?
She said yes.
But she She's not willing to.
I'm shrugging my shoulders.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just glad she didn't ask me to
he
space
just said,
jump or fight a bear or something.
He just said yes right away when I said, well, see, what happened was, okay, he said to me, he came out, well, you want to tell the story?
You can tell it.
No, I'd rather have you tell.
Okay, so
the temperature's
so he
gone up
calls
2
me.
degrees in this room
I
since
know.
Jonathan started talking.
That's because the warmth and the love in the room.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when he
Nice.
called me and said and asked to call him, if we could talk after I saw big news is coming, because I thought he was getting married and I got sad. And so I texted him, like, tell us what the big news is right now, Jonathan. I hate it when you just string things out. Just say it right up front. And he said, he texted me back and he says, well, can I call you? And so I said yes. And so he called me. And then that's when he proclaimed his love for me. And I said, and something came up and I said, Jonathan, can I call you right back? And so
I like that.
So then I called him right back and we talked for hours.
Did something really come up, or were you a little clef?
Well, no, I think it was the press conference, right?
No,
I
think you just started crying when I told you.
Talking to the mic.
I think she just started crying when I told her because it caught her off guard.
What was the big news that you
Well,
put?
the big news was the press conference
What press conference?
that we had 2 days later, which ironically was featuring a KO again, amongst others, Brad Zahn, Kevin Custer. So
what was that for?
That was for our economic piece. There's bipartisan economic piece. But you heard her say she was sad at the thought of getting married. Yet she wouldn't even talk to me. And I told her, I said, if you were going to be that sad, you shouldn't have hung up on me last time.
So when she called you, or when you called, no, first time when you called her,
yes,
she said, "What's the big news?" And then he texted you, "Can I call you?"
Yeah, well, I texted him because I saw it on Facebook.
Did you know you were going to ask her to marry you?
Well, I didn't think she'd let me call her since she hung up on me the last time. That's why I said, now that I told you, if you hang up on me, I can die in peace.
Okay.
I thought she was going to hang up on me again.
But she didn't hang up on you.
No,
she called you back after she
did.
gained her composure.
And it was over.
Okay.
But you said you talked for 2 hours.
I need some clarification here.
Game over.
In about 60 days, you went from hanging up on him.
41 days.
Hanging up.
No. It was a year. It was a year before that
then
I
you
had
didn't talk for a year. Hang up on him a year, and then
Big news.
Big news, and then we talked, for hours. We literally talked for hours on the phone and caught up, and then I don't know, I think it was like the next day. I said, "Well, I mean, how do you even know if we could even talk for hours in person? We hadn't seen each other for how many years?"
Yeah.
And so I said, "Well, you know what, God, if I can find a round trip ticket from San Diego to Des Moines, Iowa, I will buy this ticket, but it has to be less than $250. And I thought, no way am I going to find a plane ticket. $232. I was on
Testing
a plane.
God, are we?
She did. She has been the whole time.
I'm on the plane on Thursday. I mean, this was like 4 days later. I found that cheap of a airplane ticket.
But had you accepted his proposal yet?
He hadn't proposed.
Yeah.
He hadn't proposed yet.
Okay.
No.
So you talk for hours, you catch up, you tell God, give me a cheap plane ticket and I'll go. You found a cheap plane ticket.
Right.
You flew to Des Moines.
And we had our first date.
Ever. And where'd you go on your first date?
Triple espresso.
Oh, that was a good first
Yes,
date.
triple espresso.
Because he was trying to prove to me that there were fun things to do in Iowa.
Because she said she'd never come back here. And then she didn't think I'd go out to San Diego, and I went. She said she wanted me to go to her Christmas party, and I told my daughter I was going to take her to the midnight showing of Hobbit, but her Christmas party was later that day. But I managed to. God again. See, you have to understand this is an arranged marriage. We went through all the providential things, like me deciding after 10 years of being separated and divorced that I wanted to finally get a different ring. And I turned in the ring, and immediately when I got home, her message was there. The press conference where we had talked so many hours. And one of the reasons why I think she could trust me is because 10 years ago in the Holiday Inn, we talked, but I was never disrespectful. I was never dishonorable. And she just saw my personal integrity. I wasn't trying to mac on her or nothing.
So how did this end up in a hot air balloon in a basket above the ground being said, I do?
Because in San Diego,
We'll finish that story right when we come back. Live here on The View from a Pew on KTIA, Iowa.
You've got questions. You've got the answer. Join the conversation. It's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
10 before the top, Salem Radio Network News, and then Michael Mudloff from Westkirk Presbyterian Church in Urbandale with True Blue at 4:03. My guests today are newlyweds, Jonathan and Karen Narcissus. Yes, that Jonathan Narcissus. Kind of filling us in on a whirlwind romance of 41 days. So you come here, you get your first date at Triple Espresso. When does he actually ask you? When was the official asking for your hand in marriage?
December 14th.
December 14th. Where were you?
I was in San Diego. As soon as we got back, opened up the box, gave her winter coat and a scarf, gave her a stuffed animal and a ring catalog, dropped to my knee and said, "You need to come on back to Iowa and be my wife."
This is when you landed on the ground in
Well,
San
we
Diego.
got back to her place because.
Oh, okay.
Because you have to understand that.
You like to do things.
Well,
in
things were
public.
crazy in the airport. No, I would have, except that the traffic was crazy because she parked right in the middle of the street, blocking other people. And
So hold on. You gave her whoa, Karen. He gave you a catalog for rings.
You know, when I picked him up from the airport, here he walks with this huge white, like an old-fashioned dress box. And it's not even closed with tape or anything. It's just like whatever's in there is going to fall out. And we get back to my place, and he's like, "Go over there and sit down and close your eyes."
Okay.
And he goes, into his room, and he comes back out. He doesn't even take his coat off. All he has is this stuffed animal.
Okay.
And this catalog, and he gets down on one knee, and he says, he takes my hands, and I open my eyes, and he's like, "I want you to come back to Des Moines, Iowa, and be my wife, and live with me forever." And he says, "Will you marry us?" He says, "Will you marry us?" And hands me the stuffed animal and a jewelry catalog, and says, "Just take your pick."
I hope it said Tiffany's on it. All right. And you said yes?
And I said yes.
Right away.
I did.
No hesitation.
I know, I didn't.
For a moment.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Lapse of judgment?
And I brought her a winter coat and a scarf too.
Right. Well, then he goes and gets the winter coat and the scarf, and then we started laughing because when I came out to visit him, I didn't even have a winter coat.
Yeah.
I was wearing a scarf and a huge sweater.
So you have two daughters that you bring into the marriage. How old are they?
16 and 13.
And do you have children?
Yes.
How old are your kids?
I have 4 children, 38, 35, 32, all sons, married, and 3 grandkids, 7 and
Hi,
2.
Grandpa.
I know. We have Grandpa Jonathan, and then my youngest daughter's 21.
Okay, and where do they all live?
So I have a Marine son who's in Quantico with
Tell him
his
thanks
family.
for serving.
Mhm.
He's a major.
He's a major. And then I have a family. My youngest son is in Georgia with two of my grandsons outside of Savannah. And then Jim and Shauna are in San Diego, and Christina's in San Diego at San Diego State University.
Okay. And give me some of the adjectives or verbs they used when you called them and said you're getting married. Full support?
Oh yeah, they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know him.
And I'd been alone for a while. So
Ask about her parents.
Yeah.
Are your parents still living?
Yeah, they're up in Humboldt, Iowa.
Well, didn't you go to Humboldt to ask her father for her permission to marry her?
I went up there and asked their blessing. I did.
Did you really?
I did.
He did?
Neither one of them had a heart attack.
You're
either.
a classy guy, Jonathan. That doesn't surprise me. So
My
you
mother is smitten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you drove to Humboldt and asked.
Took like 7 hours too. The tire had a leak in it.
It's like 4 hours and back to Humboldt.
No, not only did the tire have a leak in it, but the rim between the tire had a leak. So after we fixed the tire, I had to take it into a tire store. Took like 7 hours to get there. I had planned on getting there at like 9:30 in the morning. I got there like 2:33 in the afternoon.
And they were waiting for you.
No, they didn't know I was
it was
coming.
a surprise.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, I thought
I
that'd be
showed
the
up on
best
the
way to do it.
doorstep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I showed up on the doorstep.
And they didn't know who you were.
They had no idea. But I took the mother a great big bouquet of flowers, and I took the father, who's a Cubs fan, a copy of When It Was a Game, which is all original 8 and 16 millimeter film, and it has color film from the original 1938
All right,
World Series,
so
first color film ever.
We got to watch our time here. So what did you say? What did you say to them in the beginning? Hi, my name is Jonathan Narcissus, and I'm in love with your daughter.
And I'd like your blessing to marry her.
And at what point did he pull out the gun?
Need none. They just looked at me and said, would you like a seat?
Yeah. And then did they immediately call you and said, I've got this short, fat black man at my front door, and he's saying he's in love with you?
Well, they knew who I was, though. She had told him, and he said, her dad said, that's that guy in Des Moines. They're always trying to chop his knees out from under him for saying what other people want to say.
Yeah, okay. Good. So you got good in-laws.
Yes, and we talked some politics and stuff.
Okay.
And
Are they Democrats or Republicans?
I didn't ask them that.
Well, if you talk politics, you must know where their worldview is.
You know what? I didn't ask them that.
Okay. Didn't ask them where they stand on anything?
Well, we talk. Well, when I
are they happy Obama's in office?
When I talk, listen, we didn't talk any of that.
Right.
We talk local politics, and local politics is nonpartisan. You only have two political parties in Iowa: those that got power, and those that are trying to keep them from abusing it.
Okay. All right. So, what's been the most surprising thing in the 41 days? Forget how you got there. You're there. What's the biggest? What's the thing you didn't know about him that you now know?
Oh, gosh, everything. Because it's an arranged marriage. We're just every day we're learning new things, and it's exciting. Yeah.
Does he snore?
I don't know. I'm sleeping.
All right. Well, welcome to you guys, and thanks for coming in. You're a delightful young lady. I see why he fell in love with you, and we look forward to having you over to our house with my wife and playing a little poker. Have you played with her yet? Is she better than you?
I haven't. You know what? This is what I said, because we went over to my mom's house. They said, you know what? I've seen, because we like to play bidwist at my family. I said, I've seen couples dang near come to blows over this. I said, you're my wife. I don't plan on competing against you. And as I said on several TV programs, I've learned those two words that will guarantee to make every husband happy.
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
I know the feeling. Army Brad in the house today. Thanks for coming in, Brad. Tattoo's new star producer. I think already take his place. Has been producing for us. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and if I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job, and I couldn't do it without you. Coming up tomorrow, Jim Hartelson. No, you don't know him. There's no reason for you to know him. He's a blind retiree living in an old folks' home. But he's got a testimony that'll make you love Jesus all over again. That's coming up tomorrow live here on The View from a Pew. Between now and then, of all the things you could do, of all the things you could accomplish, of all the things you could spend time with or people you could spend time with today, will you do me just one thing between now and 3 o'clock tomorrow? Just one. Pray.